Dobrodošli u Detektor Magazin. Bliži se druga godišnjica ruske invazije na Ukrajinu i dezinformacije o ovom ratu ponovo rastu, a uključuju i Bosnu i Hercegovinu. Zato smo putovali u Ukrajinu, zemlju u kojoj se borba protiv dezinformacija smatra dijelom rata i gdje neistine koje dolaze iz Rusije mogu biti destruktivne kao pravo oružje.
Dezinformacije ne dolaze samo u obliku lažnih vijesti, nego i u obliku cijelih narativa. Euromajdanski protesti koji su se desili prije 10 godina na ovom mjestu, Kijevskom Majdanu nezaležnosti, zvanična Moskva predstavlja kao državni udar i kao kraj ukrajinske nezavisnosti. Ista ta vlast u Moskvi je nedugo zatim anektirala ukrajinski Krim, a proruske snage su proglasile nezavisnost istočnih regija.
It was first days of March of 2014, when Yanukovych, our former president, left the country, and some strange events in Crimea just started. It was our reaction to these events, because before that moment we didn't pay attention to Russian disinformation. We thought, oh, who cares about Russian disinformation, what they show on their TV networks? But then we realized it was a huge mistake, and we need to do something to deal with this, to protect our people from this harmful influence. We watch Russian television on a daily basis, and when we saw that something is different, that they started to use different words for Ukraine. Their rhetoric became more aggressive. They started to discuss how they want to target Ukraine with missiles, how they would like to start this ground operation, like very different things. I think in the 3 months before this full-scale invasion, our analysis showed that they are ready to launch this full-scale invasion. So we published this report and said that Putin is ready, and it's up to him to decide but if he decides to start this full-scale invasion, the Russians will support it.
Novinari organizacije Stop Fake imaju godine iskustva u provjeravanju dezinformacija. Prije početka ruske invazije jedna čudna priča ih je iznenadila, ali i dovela do stvarnih namjera ruskog predsjednika.
First article I wrote for the website was about Ukrainian refugees in Russia. It was March of 2014 and there were no refugees. But Russian media, they reported that they were all reports that thousands of Ukrainians, they enter in Russia and they want to escape Ukrainian neo-Nazi. So when I started checking this information, I called to Russian Federal Migration Service and they asked, can you give me a data how many Ukrainians asked for political asylum, or how many refugees from Ukraine do you have? And the lady I spoke with, she said, oh, we had just 5 phone calls. There are no refugees. But this lady said to me that they have received an order to buy food for refugees, tents for refugees, and everything for refugees. So they were preparing. And several months later, when they started ground operation in Donbass, these refugees appeared.
Trenutno se nalazimo u Buči, u mjestu nedaleko od Kijeva, u kojem je u martu 2022. godine došlo do vjerovatno prvih masovnih ubistava ratnih zarobljenika i civila. Jednako tako, to je vjerovatno i prvi slučaj korištenja masovne dezinformacije kada je u pitanju zločin koji je počinila ruska vojska od strane zvaničnog Kremlja. Taj se dezinformacija se i dan danas koristi i često se može čuti i u Bosni i Hercegovini kada ljudi, predstavnici institucija iz Republike Srpske, objašnjavaju događaje kao što su Markale i Srebrenica, također u svjetlu svojih dezinformacija koje nisu u skladu sa činjenicama.
For Russia, the main aim now is not only to people not support Ukraine, but also to help raise up heads of pro-Russian political parties and movements all over the Europe.
Miroslava Markova je analitičarka pri projektu VoxCheck, koji provjerava tačnost informacija. Oni veliku pažnju posvećuju manipulacijama koje iz Rusije uspijevaju doći do ukrajinske publike, ali i drugih evropskih zemalja.
We started from Germany and Italy, and we wanted to see Germany was a top target for Russia for a long time because of tries to spread disinfo about war in Ukraine that took place since 2014. And as we have seen in 2022, Germany wasn't among countries that were the first to provide aid on this level as in other countries. And we started to monitoring also Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Czech Republic to see the situation there. The most widespread narrative about Ukraine is trying to sow distrust in Ukrainian authorities, the ones who accept military financial aid, that they are very corrupted because it costs too much for your budget, because it weakens your military, and because you are becoming so-called part of Third World War.
Ali u ruskim medijima ispričana je potpuno drugačija priča. Ukrajinci to više ne mogu vidjeti, jer su ruski i proruski mediji zabranjeni na teritoriji Ukrajine pod kontrolom Kijeva. Zato ruske vlasti danas pokušavaju kroz druge kanale doći do publike.
The best for it became Telegram channels, because a lot of authors of these channels always stay anonymous, and this platform allow them to do so, making look of some kind of independent author. A lot of Telegram channels that are being under control of Russian special services. We in Ukraine don't have any kind of power to go to Telegram and say, please block some channels because they systematically spread disinfo or even hate speech on the extremely high level.
Marija Adejeva objavljuje fotografije i činjenice o događajima u Ukrajini od prvog dana ruske invazije. Nju na društvenim mrežama prati više od 150.000 ljudi, a danas kao ekspertica za komunikacije radi za državnu novinsku agenciju. Njen posao je da otkriva i objašnjava ruske dezinformacije. U intervju za Detektor magazin govori kako Ukrajinci danas otkrivaju ruske dezinformacije i šta građani u Bosni i Hercegovini mogu naučiti iz ukrajinskog iskustva.
How do you battle false representation of reality that comes from the Moscow and it's distributed in the West?
Battling with disinformation that is targeting the West might be quite difficult, because we have on one hand the free speech and the legislation that allows everyone to express their opinions. And on the other hand, we have Russia that never admits any democratic rules and regulation, and it manipulates the free speech and uses it against West. So as Western community sees Russia as a player, but Russia, on the contrary, uses and sees this as a weakness and tries to find the holes which it can use to further infiltrate and manipulate in the information space. And the Russian propaganda machine is working 24/7. They never have day offs. They every day have these propaganda shows which are shown everywhere in Russia. And what is more important, not only the specific fake news, but generally the narrative that some Western community, NATO, is threatening Russia, and Russia now has to defend. I just recently watched the video that Russian soldiers filmed in Kherson. So there are Russian soldiers on the occupied territory of Kherson region filming just each other, making selfie video for their families. And they say their families, we are here defending our children so that them will not come and will not attack our children somewhere in Siberia. So these people really believe that they, by occupying independent country and killing civilians, they defend someone at home. So, and this is why propaganda is and disinformation is so threatening and it's effective.
Have you identified the main organizers?
So there is a system Russia built how they distribute this disinformation, and it works really well. So they have put a lot of effort, and this is working. But generally, the misinformation will appear in some Telegram channel or at some source that people don't pay attention to, some lowercase, for example, local media. From there, this disinformation will be picked up later in the day by big Russian media news outlets like RIA or TASS. They will quote and say, for example, like some Donetsk media is saying that Ukraine is again shelling Donetsk and killing people there, and they will quote this. After that, some Russian officials will refer to this disinformation that appeared in a smaller source, saying that as we see what is happening, and then they refer to this information as something proven. And at the end of the day, this will probably get to the Russian Ministry of Defense report, where they will say, as it was reported, that and that happened. It goes the full circle and appears in the Russian MOD or some authority report. They do not need you to believe specifically in the false information or fake information. They just need you to start being vague and say it and think probably there is something in that, and probably not what all government tells me is true. And it's very important not to allow Russia to win in this stage, because when they do it, then they will for sure go to the next stage. That's why it's very important to fact check, to tell people how their opinion is manipulated so that they would understand, to explain them that there is a difference between free speech and Russian propaganda and disinformation, which is using this free speech to manipulate and then to shape their opinion in a certain way.
Gledali ste emisiju Detektor Magazin. Ovu epizodu, kao i naš ostali sadržaj, možete potražiti na stranici Detektora i YouTube kanalu BIRN-a Bosne i Hercegovine, kao i na našim društvenim mrežama.